Chapter 45. Dead. 2 days after the calamitous helicopter assault on the Ark, Rat, who was very much alive, spent the morning shopping with Lauren in Townsville, 1,300 kilometres north of Brisbane. It was a crummy mall, the type of place where locals came for groceries and household stuff, but Rat hadn't been shopping since his mother died 8 years earlier, and he loved every minute. He got excited over every little thing, seeing a toddler rocking back and forth on the 50-cent ride, pushing a trolley through every aisle of a supermarket, even though they were only picking up chocolate bars and a loaf of bread. The video game shop was a thrill, but it was the bargain bookshop that sent him over the edge, buying a flurry of $3 paperbacks. They ended up in a food court. Rat couldn't decide between KFC and McDonald's, so they got one of each to share, and Rat scoffed most of both. "What are you grinning at?" Rat asked, as he looked at Lauren across the plastic table. She had a big black scab and 3 stitches in her bottom lip. Lauren shrugged. "It's nice watching you have so much fun." "Don't you like shopping?" "Sure," Lauren said, "if it's somewhere ritzy, and I've got money to spend." "So there's places better than this?" "Rat, this place is a dump. My best shopping centre is Bluewater, near London. It's like a big triangle. There's 2 floors, a massive cinema, and it takes a whole day to see everything. When my mum was alive, she used to take us there every November, and she'd make a big list of everything we wanted stolen for our Christmas presents." "Stolen?" Rat grinned. "Oh, that's a long story. She ran the biggest shoplifting gang in North London before she died." "Can I ask you a question?" Rat said, his face turning serious as he flicked away a piece of chicken skin stuck to his fingertip. Lauren nodded. "Sure. Do you think I'm weird?" Lauren shook her head and laughed out loud. "Rat, you're funny and clever. I like you a lot. What made you ask that?" Rat blushed. "Well, I've spent a lot of time watching girls in the shower, but we weren't allowed to mix inside the Ark. You're the first girl I've ever actually had a conversation with, and I wondered if you thought I was normal." Lauren reached across the table and put her hand on top of Rat's. "You don't need to worry," she grinned. "Most boys drive me nuts, but you're really nice. Mind you, there is one thing." "What?" Rat asked anxiously. Lauren twisted her face like she didn't really want to broach the subject. "I know you've had a weird upbringing, but not everybody will understand. The whole thing about spying on girls in the shower is creepy. I'd try keeping it out of the conversation." "Right," Rat said. "I'll remember that. Oh, there's John." Lauren glanced over her shoulder, then at her watch. "John's Mr. Punctuality. You can set your watch by him." Dressed uncharacteristically in shorts and t-shirt, John Jones slid onto the bench alongside Lauren and peered down at Rat's 2 shopping bags. "Looks like my $50 didn't last long. What did you get?" "Books mostly. I got a new copy of Oliver Twist and 4 other Charles Dickens novels, plus that Lord of the Rings book that Dana raved about at the hospital." "Pretty brave attempting Lord of the Rings," John said. "Never managed to plough through it all myself." "I love reading, but we never got good books inside the Ark. You and James can stop squabbling over that handheld PlayStation doodah now you've got those to read." Lauren shook her head. "I wouldn't bet on it." "Anyway," John said, "while I was over at the hospital visiting Dana, I had a phone call from the chairman back at campus. Lauren and Rat both straightened up, looking nervous. I'm pleased to say, "Yes!" Rat screamed. John raised his hand, but couldn't help smiling. Let me finish, Rat. Dr. McAfferty has read James's report on what you did inside the Ark and says he's happy to waive the standard Cherub recruitment tests. The doctor who examined you said you were in perfect health and the results of your IQ test were outstanding. You're being offered a place at Cherub with basic training to commence in 3 weeks. Lauren leaned across the table and gave Rat a hug. Well done, mate. Basic training is rough, but once you get through that, you're going to love being a Cherub. James sat in the living room of a beachfront house, holding a cordless phone up to his ear. Carrie, at last, he said, breaking into a grin. I've been calling for 2 days. I just got back from a mission down in Devon. Right, James said. Anything exciting? Not really. Kyle said you were in the Survivor's Ark when it went bang. Are you okay? Yeah, not bad. We managed to escape through a sewage pipe. It's lucky we did, because the explosion was right near the room where we'd been holed up. I picked up some nasty stomach bug in the sewer, so I'm on antibiotics. Poor you. Yeah, I've got my appetite back today, but I'm still weak. So, has the Survivor thing been on the news over there? Just a bit, Carrie said. It's still the top story, even today. Oh, and you'll never guess who we're staying with. Carrie laughed. Better tell me then. They didn't want us going back to Brisbane in case we were recognised by survivors collecting money in the street, so they flew us all up to Townsville. We're staying with Amy Collins and her brother John. Oh, cool, Carrie said. I haven't seen Amy since she retired from Cherub. How's she doing these days? Seems good, but she's at university and I think they're short of money. Amy's gone bohemian. You know, beads in her hair and grubby jeans. She's got this hippie boyfriend who's like 35 or something. Jealous, are we? You know I only have eyes for you, Carrie. Right, she sneered. That reminds me, I think Gabrielle wants to kick your ass. Eh? Me and the girls got gossiping the other day, and I might have let it slip that you said you only asked her out because you were drunk. James tutted. Nice one, Carrie. So, when are you coming home? We're staying out here for another couple of weeks, having a rest and a bit of a holiday. The doctor who examined us says we're really run down from living with the survivors. They eat bad food, and you only get 6 or 7 hours sleep a night. My skin's disgusting. I've got about 20 zits on my back. Ew, Carrie said. I hope they're gone by the time I see you. I wish you were here with us. I missed you every day. I missed you, James. I'm really looking forward to us being back together again. James giggled. I'm looking forward to getting my hand up your top. Maybe I won't be wearing a top. James's eyeballs practically sprung out on stalks. Are you serious? Might be, Carrie teased. I've picked up loads of tricks from the guys I cheated on you with while you were away. Same here, James grinned. This mission's just been one hot religious babe after another. Anyway, James, it's great hearing from you. But it's 1 a.m, and I'm helping Mr. Carter coach some red shirts in the dojo at 6:30, so I'd better get to sleep. Right, James said. I'll call you again tomorrow, okay? Cool, Carrie said, as she blew a couple of kisses into the phone. Have a good rest, Can't wait to see you. Speak tomorrow, James said, blowing a few back before hitting the end call button. He strolled through to the kitchen, imagining Carrie taking her top off and hoping that she wasn't kidding. Amy stood at the counter mixing a giant bowl of salad. Do you think this will be enough for everyone? She asked. James smirked. I think you could feed a small army with all that. You seem to be getting on well with Carrie these days. Yeah, James said. I always miss her when I'm away. It's a pity it never works as well when we're both on the same continent. Amy grinned. She's worth the effort, James. I've always said you two complement each other. So, do you need a hand with anything here? Nah, I reckon it's covered. Amy shrugged. My brother John's setting up the barbecue outside, and John Jones is supposed to be stopping off at the grog shop to pick up some booze. James noticed a car moving up the driveway outside. That's Dana and Chloe. He strolled out onto the drive with Amy and helped Dana out of the back of the car. Once she was standing on her crutches, James gave her a hug. So, how are you feeling? James asked. I'm glad you made it in one piece. Dana smiled. Minus the tip of my middle toe. Look on the bright side, James grinned. You've shaved 10% off the time it takes to cut your toenails. Every cloud, eh, James? Sorry I couldn't visit you in the hospital with the others, but the doctor said it was best if I stayed away while I was sick. But you're okay now? Dana asked as she stepped towards the back door. Pretty much. Lauren said your face was a real picture when the light came on in that sewer. Says you threatened to quit Cherub and everything. James tutted. She's going to tell everyone on campus. I'm never going to hear the end of it. So you're not quitting? James shook his head. You know what missions are like. You don't exactly enjoy it while you're there, but as soon as you've recovered, you're itching for another one. An hour later, the house was full of barbecue smells and the gathering was in full swing out on the patio. It was Saturday afternoon, and Amy's brother John, another ex-Cherub, manned the grill. Everyone else stood around, eating, chatting, and holding drinks. John Jones, Chloe, Abigail, Dana, James, Amy, and Lauren. John Jones put his glass of wine on a plastic table and clapped his hands together. I'm sorry, everyone, but while you're all gathered together like this, I'm going to have to inflict a speech on you. Hang on, where's Rat? All the heads on the patio turned around, mystified. I'll get him, Lauren groaned. She put her paper plate down and stepped through the patio doors into the living room. Rat sat on the couch, with a look of intense concentration on his face, scowling at James's PSP. Come on, you unsociable git, Lauren said. You can't sit here playing computer games when we're having a party. Rat glanced up anxiously. Let me finish this race. James says I get the Mitsubishi Evo if I win this track. Lauren tutted as she snatched the handheld and turned it off. Hey! Rat gasped. Lauren grabbed his arm and tugged him off the couch. Everyone smiled as Rat was dragged out into the sunlight. Thank you, Lauren, John said, before resuming his speech. I know that our memories of this mission will be tinged with sadness, because of the people who died in the Ark. But I don't want that to detract from the outstanding work done by the people gathered here. John paused to take a mouthful of wine. I had a long conversation with our chairman, Dr. McAfferty, this morning. You've all heard the news that Rathbone has been accepted as a Cherub recruit. A splutter of clapping broke out, and Rat smiled. Mac also offered thanks to Abigail for her assistance. I'm sure we all wish her success in her ongoing ACES career. I'm afraid that Mac's next piece of news makes me rather sad. It seems that young Chloe will no longer be my assistant. Dr. McAfee has offered her a position as a full mission controller. She'll even be getting her own assistant to boss around. Congratulations, Chloe. Chloe looked happy as Amy gave her a rub on the back. But this mission would never have got anywhere without the work of 3 brilliant youngsters. In fact, the first thing that Dr. McAfee said when I spoke to him this morning was that he was delighted, finally, to have an opportunity to promote Dana Smith to a Navy shirt. We now know that over 100 people would have died if Help Earth had successfully destroyed the Indonesian LNG facility. Each of them owes their life to Dana's extraordinary bravery. Everyone clapped as Dana broke into an uncharacteristic smile and turned bright red. Long overdue, James shouted, and everyone murmured in agreement. John smiled. James, Mac also expressed his thanks for another solid performance from you. However, the chairman singled out our youngest agent for the strongest praise of all. Despite being just 11 years of age, Lauren behaved almost immaculately over the space of 2 months under extremely difficult circumstances. Not only that, but when the mission reached its climax, she not only kept her cool, but instigated the rescue of 5 young children who would almost certainly have perished in the explosion. Lauren Adams, I'm absolutely delighted to say that you have been awarded a black shirt. I'm told that this will make you the 3rd youngest cherub ever to wear it. James was stunned as Lauren put her hands over her eyes and squealed. Are you kidding me? Chloe stepped up behind Lauren and pulled her into a big hug. James was happy, but at the same time he resented it slightly. It had been Lauren's idea to rescue the little kids, but he'd been through everything else with Lauren and hadn't got anything. Amy jabbed a finger in his back. Go and congratulate your sister then. James stepped forward and got caught up in the happy mood as he hugged his sister, who had tears streaking down her face. I don't believe it, she sniffed happily. None of my mates are even Navy shirts. The other black shirts are all 15 and 16. I just... John grinned at her. It's ability, not age, that counts at Cherub. As James headed over to the barbecue to replenish his plate, he caught a sly glance from Dana. What are you grinning at? James asked. Oh, Dana said, shrugging casually. I just think it's going to be a hoot, watching Lauren boss you around on training exercises and stuff. I mean, now that your little sister outranks you. Epilogue. Help Earth. The arrests of Brian Evans, Susie Regan, Nina Richards, and Barry Cox represented a huge step in the fight against the terrorist group Help Earth. Although the 4 are initially expected to stand trial in Australia, they are also wanted for questioning in Hong Kong, the United Kingdom, America, and Venezuela. It is expected that they will spend the rest of their lives in prison. In the days after the Survivors Ark tragedy, several more arrests were made, including that of Arnos Lomborg, who is now believed to have been the financial mastermind behind Help Earth. Mike Evans has not been cited since his beachfront encounter with Dana Smith and remains at large. Although these arrests struck a major blow against Help Earth, it is thought that the terrorist group has a decentralized structure made up of small cells located throughout the world. Many of these cells remain a threat, especially since as much of the $400 million stolen from the survivors by Susie Regan has not been traced. The survivors. Many commentators thought that the death of Joel Regan and the Ark tragedy would spell the end of the survivor cult. This did not prove to be the case. While the survivors were bankrupted by the financial implications of the failed terrorist attack, the movement itself restructured. Most survivors now believe that God will select a new messenger to lead them and build another ark. Elliot Moss fully recovered from his stab wound. Together with Wayne, he set up the new Survivor Foundation, known as the NSF. Using a mixture of bank loans and money raised by commune members, the NSF was able to purchase the Brisbane Mall and the adjoining warehouse from creditors. Although 4 survivor communes around the world closed after the fall of the first ark, as NSF members call it, 19 others used the earning power and ingenuity of their residents to stay in business. Ernie Craig was arrested in the wake of the Ark tragedy and cautioned for various firearms offences. Other members of the NSF did not accept his repeated claims that he escaped the Ark with Rathbone Regan and that the boy will one day return to lead the survivors. After a series of heated arguments, he was forced to leave the Brisbane commune. Georgie Goldman was found among the dead inside a collapsed tunnel within the Ark. The body of Eve Stannis washed up on an Indonesian island. No trace was ever found of the dinghy or explosives. She was flown back to Brisbane and buried in a survivor ceremony. Eve's parents and 2 younger sisters are believed to have left the NSF shortly afterwards. The others. Abigail Sanders went back to her real family and her regular job with ASIS. She is currently working to identify the remaining Help Earth cells and trace the money stolen by Susie Regan. Miriam Longford attained brief celebrity in the aftermath of the Ark tragedy. As the preeminent expert on the survivors, she appeared on more than a dozen TV shows and was quoted in hundreds of newspapers around the world. Once the attention died down, she resumed her work counselling former cult members and is currently writing a biography, From Supermodel to Terrorist: The Sensational Life of Susie Regan. Following the Ark tragedy, Emily Wildman changed her will again, this time leaving 1/4 of her money to her son Ronnie and 3/4 to the Australian Red Cross. She remains in reasonable health and recently celebrated her 88th birthday. The Cherubs. Rathbone Regan changed his name to Greg Rathbone. He has started basic training alongside 11 other recruits and is said to be doing exceptionally well. Despite begging everyone on Cherub campus to call him Greg, he is still known as Rat. Despite the injury to her toe, Dana Smith has resumed light training and has set herself a target to compete in her first adult triathlon in August 2006. After 10 days rest in Townsville, James and Lauren Adams return to Cherub campus. They will be eligible for another mission once they have caught up on their schoolwork.